remaining hopeful actually has been surprisingly easy for us. And really, I think if there is a theme to this video, it's what it means to be hopeful, optimistic, that kind of thing. There was a time, when I was a kid, the word cancer was something that was truly evil. People who got it typically died in very unpleasant ways, and anybody, certainly as we aged and we saw other people we knew go through it, it was bad. But the reality is, as we're finding out today, it's an incredibly well developed science and field of medicine. And in many ways, I wouldn't use words like being scared or overwhelmed, or there's an awful lot of emotions that we thought we would go through, but we're not. The closest we come is the word surreal. It's because everything actually seems like it is part of a highly structured and well-conceived process. And indeed, the sequence of specialists, the treatments, the basic diagnosis, the actual explanations that we received, everything seemed amazingly rational. And today we actually are confident. That's a good word. We have a lot of confidence in the system that is treating me. And I guess that's a good thing. The other related feeling is that of feeling very fortunate. My family and I are benefiting from a whole bunch of things that are helping us. Number one, I work for an employer who has been incredibly supportive. McMaster University, where I teach, has a very, very compassionate and generous framework for helping its employees get through serious illness as I'm facing. I'm also incredibly thankful that I chose and developed in a profession and a career that allowed me to really, really learn a lot about science, about technology, about medicine even, and a lot of things that I, in fact, encountered through my treatment, I had some connection to in terms of my work. Not that I did this stuff, but I dealt with concepts that relate, that is relevant to my own chosen fields as well as the medical fields. It's actually been, in many ways, pretty heartening to know that some of the things that I've really dealt with so many talented people in my own career actually fed into the developments of these techniques and technologies. So in the end, that stuff isn't a black box as much as it could be. Secondly, the obvious point of us having the means and living in a country and a province that really actually has a good system for this. I'm like pretty much everybody else in my province and country. There's a lot of things that I can say to criticize our systems and our social network and our healthcare system. But when all is said and done, it's treated me incredibly well. It's treated me with competence, with dignity, and with a generosity, in that we will get out without extraordinary expenses, without a lot of heartache, without a lot of grief. And that's something to be so thankful for. In the end, we're also thankful that this process is also helping our family, I think, regain a lot of perspective, not as individuals. So our kids, they became adults in the last 10 years, and they're starting to build their own lives, which is wonderful. But in many ways, the actual family itself, and its structure and its framework could probably drift in many families, as it has in ours. But this is really bringing everything together. We're all in on dealing with this in a good way, and I I treasure the support that I'm getting from my kids and from my wife Sharon, and also our extended family that is inclusive of friends and neighbors from all over the world. I've been, if there's one thing that has been overwhelming, it's all that. It's just the sheer level of support that I've received. So thank you all for those of you who have reached out. There's a lot to take in the next bunch of weeks, possibly for the rest of my life. But there's also a lot for us to gain strength from. And over the next little while, I'd like to see if I can continue some of these recordings. So maybe part of my experience can be presented in a way that, heaven forbid, if you have to go through this as well, that maybe there's some perspectives and some insights that will help you, that will be a good conversation for us to have. And on that, I really do look forward to the time, hopefully later this year, if not early next year, when we could actually engage in a real conversation. There's a bunch of things that I'm not going to be able to do for obvious reasons in the upcoming weeks and months. But it will pass. I have every confidence that it will pass. And I have every confidence that when we do re-engage in a much more direct way, that it will be that much more meaningful. So with that, wish me luck. I am I can't say I'm looking forward to it, but it will be another milestone in this progression, and we go from there. And on Wednesday at 11:10 daylight, Eastern Daylight Time, at the Grand River Cancer Centre in Kitchener, Ontario, Canada, about 5 kilometers from where I live. I'll step through a door and hopefully come out a better person. And so with that, bye until the next time we see each other again.